Good morning and welcome to this first task force check-in on a Monday morning. And just a reminder that the meeting's being recorded and will be posted to the task force website following the meeting. So thanks everyone who was able to make it this morning. And like I said, these will happen every Monday morning at 8:30. It seemed to be the most likely time to find a hole in everyone's calendar. Again, these are optional meetings for members of the task force or really anyone who's interested in attending, participating. Hopefully, we'll have some of our businesses themselves join us as things go along here. And really, these meetings are an opportunity for all of the organizations in Huron County who are supporting our business community and supporting our businesses as they navigate what is turning out to be a rather tumultuous time. So for all of the organizations to touch base once a week, see what's new, what's happened over the weekend, any new resources that are out, anything that anyone thinks should be shared to the website, which is going to be kind of that centralized hub of information. That's huronertf.ca in case anyone hasn't found that yet. There is also a dedicated email address, which is taskforce@huronchamber.ca. So if you do have anything that comes up during the week that you think is useful for me to post on the website, just fire it off to that email or my own, but that one goes into a special folder and I can keep track of things that way. So just a few notes from me before I open the floor here. Again, these weekly check-in meetings will be fairly informal. Sometimes they'll take the full half hour. Other times we might be done a little early. It just kind of depends on what's going on. I also want to just point out that this task force is temporary and hopefully won't be necessary sooner than later. So it is, but we did the three chambers who've kind of pulled this together last week, Huron Chamber, South Huron, and Bayfield. We felt it was important to have something in place, even though we have this pause and who knows what's going to happen in early April. But at least we'd have something in place so that if things get worse instead of better, we're ready for it. In terms of structure, it's very loose. So we do have a list of members of the task force. That's just the organizations who have confirmed they want to participate. I didn't want to make any assumptions around who was participating and not participating. So because I know every organization has their own processes and things around approvals and who needs board approvals or not and that kind of thing. And with our municipalities, I know they each have their own processes around that as well. So that list of members is not exclusionary in any sense. If someone's not there that not listed there that perhaps you think should be or is surprising, it's just that they don't have yet whatever approvals they need to be listed as a member. So and yeah, so the membership is intended to be those organizations that are supporting our business community. So that's our chambers, BIAs, municipalities, the other business associations in the county, that kind of thing. As far as businesses themselves participating, absolutely, we need their input. We can't do this without understanding what they're dealing with, and so that's part of the reason these meetings are open. They're welcome to attend, but the task force is intended to serve them. So we are gathering the information so that we're, as a collective group, are better able to serve our business members or businesses through our membership organizations. Anyway, so what else did I want to get clear out the top? that's most of it. There will be uh, as we go along here opportunities for media. I've had some conversations with various media outlets already. So if anyone is oh, Ryan says he can't hear me. Interesting.
I can hear you fine, Colin.
Okay, Janice can hear me. Good. Okay, I'll keep trucking along. So there may be there will be opportunities for media. This is more particularly for businesses who may see this down the road. Just to get in touch if you're willing to do media, if you're willing to talk to media about the tariffs and that kind of thing, let me know so that I can direct them to you. I know not all businesses are comfortable doing that, but some are. So I just need to kind of know. And so for the folks in our member organizations, if you know of businesses in your areas or in your membership that are I'll say media friendly, that enjoy doing that or are willing to do that, just let me know. Because I know several of our local media are always looking for the local angle on this tariff stuff. And so it's always good to have those folks who are willing to do that. The last thing is that we are putting together we being the three chambers are putting together a webinar, I guess, a virtual event with a few subject matter experts who will be sharing, a couple, 2 or 3 tangible things businesses can do right away to kind of prepare themselves for whatever happens April 2nd. So we'll have a business strategist, we'll have someone talking about financial planning, we'll have someone talking about human resources, because I know a lot of businesses are really unclear what to do right now, given that this is normally the time to staff up for summer. But no one really knows what summer's going to look like. So that's a tough choice for them to make. So we'll have someone from the HR world just to give some thoughts on that. We're also going to have a mental health practitioner on that call, just to offer some advice there as well, because it's a very stressful time for our business owners and employees for that matter. And so that's an important aspect we don't want to lose either. So we were actually already putting that together before the task force thing happened. So that's just going to kind of flow into this, and that'll be hopefully happening in the next couple of weeks. We're just going to throw that together, and so we'll share that information on that as it happens. Okay, I will stop talking now, and anyone else who has thoughts to jump in. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Caroline.
I was just wondering, Colin, is there a task force or some information that maybe we can pull together for people as to what other trade agreements we have to help them diversify even later on down the road, even if these tariffs or whatever don't go through? Because I know that's a lot of sort of the comments I'm hearing is a lot of businesses don't know about, like, I mean, we have 2/3 of the world, we have free trade agreements between Canada and them. So I'm just wondering, is there any type of webinar that perhaps we can pull together to let people know what some of these other markets are or how they can potentially get into the markets? I think that would be beneficial now as well as further on down the road, as I think a lot of businesses have now decided they really do need to diversify. So I mean, that's something that I would be interested in. Also, I do have in the last sort of sort of tariff resources I sent out earlier on in February, there was actually a really good Canadian website. So even those people that are looking at exporting still to the United States, you were able to put in the type of product you had and it would tell you what kind of tariff it would be. So that kind of I thought was a really nice resource so that people could actually see maybe what could be implemented and how that could affect their business or what they would be looking for their customers on the other end would be looking at if they were to go through with those tariffs. So those are just kind of a couple of points from my end.
Yeah, was that the tariff finder? Was that the one
Yeah.
yeah. So I think
Yeah.
I put that one. So late afternoon Friday, I kind of threw up a bunch of
Okay.
resources that I kind of had at hand on the news and resources page of the task force website. So it's just a list at this point. It's not, we'll have to kind of categorize things a little bit and arrange that so it's more useful information. But yeah, if anyone has anything, I kind of tried to look in the obvious places on Friday, but has any resources to share, just send them along to that task force at huronchamber.ca website, and I'll get them up on that page and try to make those as helpful. As far as the other options to expand or to diversify their export markets, yep, that's something we can look into and find some resources on. Some of the other national associations have been doing some webinars on this kind of stuff too. The CME, the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters, and I think Export Development or Canada has also done some webinars on those kinds of things. So we'll try to maybe pull those together as well.
Even if it's for our small businesses too, right? Some of them
Yep.
that were just always relying on the Americans, and maybe we can now try to even open up their markets to Mexico or something. There's also just late Friday afternoon as well, the government released that there is a special $6.5 billion fund that they're creating as well to help out. So I guess as information rolls out on that as well.
Yeah, and then the other unfortunate news over the weekend, well, Friday night and over the weekend is new Chinese tariffs on ag products, and so that's obviously going to impact Huron County. I don't have a sense yet of exactly how, but canola, I think, was exempted. That doesn't help us a ton here in Huron County. We do a little bit, but not a lot. So, but hopefully we can get some input from OFA on that, and I'll be chatting with Ethan Wallace over the week to find out what that means for Huron County. Something popped into my head while you were talking, Caroline, and now it's gone out again. So, but oh, I know what it was. It was you were talking about diversifying export markets, but there's also that diversification within Canada and finding new markets within Canada as these interprovincial trade barriers come down, and so yeah, so we'll be able to share some resources around that as well. And I think both of those things are, regardless of what happens in early April or May or June, or, this is going to be kind of one of those ongoing things that's something that our business owners can explore. Also in terms of importing, folks that have to import product from the US, depending on how the tariff situation goes, that may get more expensive as well with reciprocal tariffs. So finding other sources for some of that will be important as well. So great. Anyone else have thoughts or things that perhaps your businesses are asking for that we can collectively track down and share, or any concerns not
Yeah, just along the new markets. I've had that discussion with a couple of our manufacturers that manufacture agricultural implements. So they're looking at new possible markets. We have a manufacturer here that deals 70% of his business in the United States. So yeah, he's just looking for new possible markets, and that's come up a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I had a chat with one of your manufacturers late last week. So thanks for making that connection, Carolyn. And their issue is that so they're sourcing steel, and they have to bring steel in from the US because the steel suppliers in Canada, their minimum orders are too big. So they'd have to order 3 years worth of steel in order to order directly from Algoma and others. So this kind of is kind of related to those interprovincial trade barriers, right? This is like even intra-provincial, like within Ontario, there's a steel supplier, a couple hours drive away that they can't utilize because of their minimum order. So I've actually kicked that one up to the Ontario Chamber of Commerce to see what their thoughts are on that, and if we can convince some of the larger steel producers in Canada to lower their minimum orders so that our small manufacturers can take advantage of local steel, as opposed to, I mean, it seems so silly with steel and aluminum tariffs that our manufacturers are being forced to still import from the US, even though we have steel producers right here in Ontario and in Canada. So working on that one. So thanks for that connection last week, Carolyn.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of like I've probably heard back from like 8 of our businesses so far about the impact. So that's what I'm kind of doing this morning, is just compiling kind of all their comments, and then I'm meeting with Huron County tomorrow to go over kind of like what we can do, like whether there's specific things, right, that we can tackle or send to somebody else to tackle. Yeah, so I'm just like, I'm just trying to like keep up with what's happening. I just find it so difficult. Everything's changing so quickly. It's just so difficult to like figure out what is going on, like what at the present moment, like what's happening, because it's just, yeah, it's chaos.
Yeah, a lot of whiplash involved.
Yeah.
Every day it seems that it changes.
Yeah.
And that's of course all to do with the current occupant of the White House. But
yeah.
Anyone else have thoughts?
I was just going to say, talking to some of the sort of retailer side of things here, I even went into one of our tire companies here as well. It sounds like a lot of them don't see an impact kind of happening for probably about 6 months, because they have been actually upping some of their imports right now in between. So when I was even talking with Tirecraft, they have said that they probably won't see any impact of a tariff hitting the prices for about another 6 months, because it seems like they have sort of stuff in stock. So it sounds like here in Exeter, at least, the retailers have been padding up a little bit, and just kind of bringing in some of that supply now and just sort of hosting it. And it does sound like some of our Canadian businesses have done the same on the other side of the border. I was not able to get in touch with Agway Steel. So that's kind of one of my main manufacturers here that I'm a bit concerned, but I did not get hear back from them. So that's still something I'm going to try to point out to see how things are going there. So that's just a little update when I was talking with some retailers here. It definitely sounds like it's going to hit that manufacturing first.
Yeah, and in terms of the stocking up, if I heard correctly on Friday, it sounds like the trade balance between Canada and the US actually flipped in January, because it seems like a lot of our Canadian importers were getting stuff into Canada before the tariffs hit, kind of thing. So January was a busy month for getting product into Canada from the US before it got more expensive. Although I'm hearing that also tariff pricing is already being baked in in some of these contracts, or contracts are being canceled in just in case. So the impacts are happening regardless of whether the tariffs in either direction are in place or not. So anything else to share? Any other concerns from anybody? I mean, we all have concerns, obviously.
Colin, this isn't so much a concern, but I just thought I would remind everyone, hi everybody, Ryan from the United Way, a couple of things. One, we did send out some information last week to media and a number of our partners to let them know that, we certainly want to be supportive in any way we can, especially for employees who might be experiencing challenges during this period of time, whether it's mental health related or otherwise, and also certainly want to make sure that everyone has access to the social services that they need. So we are pushing hard to make everybody aware of 211, because that is the simplest way for people to access information, easy to remember. So if you're posting anywhere about how to make sure that employees and employers have the support that they need, please please share 211, and you can link it from our website at perthhuron.unitedway.ca. Also, just making everybody aware, we do have what we call the Urgent Need Fund that we created during COVID. And so if people are struggling and need some emergency expense paid for, whether it's a car repair bill or medication or groceries, they can look into that. They can access that through 211. It actually is done via the 211 call line. And thirdly, we are also considering how we can gather the not-for-profits in the region to talk about the challenges that we're facing. We had weekly calls, not unlike this, with not-for-profits during COVID, and are biding our time a little bit until we make sure that it is going to be useful with everybody's time. But that is something that we can offer because we have all their contact information and have done this before in the past. And so if you think for whatever reason that is useful to you, I'm just all ears to know what our friends in the not-for-profit world can do to be supportive.
There are certainly echoes of COVID in all of this. In some ways, some of us have things that we can just pull off the shelf, dust off and reuse, unfortunately. But speaking of that, if anyone is either, you know, ramping up your shop local or support local, or, you know, any of those programs specifically in response to tariffs, feel free to share those through that email address as well, and we can have those listed. Although it seems to me that kind of now more than ever, those are going to be a year-round campaigns now. That supporting local is going to be just what we do, and you know, maybe should have always been doing, but that's sometimes it takes an event like this to remind us, and so. But yeah, any of those things also, yeah, feel free to share through, and we'll find a way to share it.
Colin, I can share with you the Obia toolkit. In and around our logo that we now have on social media, anybody can actually download Shop Main Street Canada.
Okay.
So that little logo is something that anybody can use, and it's something that Obia is asking for anybody to use. So what I can do is I can send you the link to the Obia toolkit, because that is something that anybody can use to sort of support that Shop Main Street type of deal.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if no one has anything else, it's 8:54, so we'll let you get on with your Monday mornings.
I have just one thing. Yeah. The emails from Michael Burani, the senior business advisor with Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, asking for feedback on the tariff measures. What are people doing with those? What are municipalities doing with those, and so on, in terms of getting out to businesses or getting responses from businesses to be able to provide feedback by March 25th?
Yeah, I've seen that shared a few times. I think that's the kind of formal feedback process on the government policy, you know. But yeah, I did get that email from Michael as well.
Are you forwarding those emails, Colin, to any of the businesses that you have as members with the Huron Chamber of Commerce? I know I, you know, circulated them to a couple of businesses, you know, in the past when it comes to funding opportunities, but I'm looking for you to tell me whether or not that's something that you forwarded, you know, to those businesses or not.
I didn't forward that one to you know, to the larger group. I try to limit the number of of times I'm inserting myself into people's inboxes, of course. I actually had intended to have it in my newsletter last week, and it didn't get in there, but will be this week, and I will add that to the task force website as well.
I have sent it out to all my large large manufacturers, I'd say. I didn't send it out to some of my smaller businesses. I did let them know that about that kind of channel, but I didn't forward that email on from Michael directly to them. So I have had a couple of our manufacturers that have submitted comments already. And then once I kind of go through my list, just because like some of the emails I've gotten from businesses are very lengthy, so I'm just trying to like pull out kind of the major themes and everything out of those emails, and then I'll probably like submit those myself just to ensure that they get in there. My thoughts on it is that, so what if they get in there twice? At least it's being heard, right? So yeah, so that's kind of what I've done here, and I believe Huron County is kind of doing the same. Like they've, some of their comments that they've heard, they've been submitting as well through there.
So I will on that kind of survey front, but the Huron Chamber did set up a survey, I guess when this first started, about what the local impacts would be. It's still open. I think I'm going to add it to the task force website again. I think it's good for us to get as much of a sense of what the local impact is going to be. So it asks about if you're changing your any hiring practices, if it's impacting your imports, export, those kinds of things. It's not a detailed survey, but it hopefully will give us some glimpse of what the impact is in Huron County. So so I'll get that up on the website as well today, and it's been in my newsletter for the past several weeks. Not a huge amount of uptake yet, but we can put that out. Ontario Chamber has one. I think kind of everyone has a survey at this point in terms of impacts of tariff impacts, but yeah, so that'll be another option for getting some local data. Or anecdotal data, even if that's kind of a oxymoron. Anyone else before we adjourn for the week? Going once, twice. Okay, well, thanks for everyone for joining us on your early Monday morning. And again, don't feel shy about sending information along. The more information we can share, the information's or knowledge is power, right? Is the phrase. So we'll just try to make sure our businesses have all of the information that we can provide collectively, and hope that we don't need any of it at some point going forward soon. So thanks everyone. Stay in touch.
Thanks.
Thanks, bye.